as a Stanford student, it's important to embrace that cardinal principle of humility. I think when you have these really lofty opinions and principles about like ethical work, it's easy to come into an organization and feel like you can exert those principles, but realizing that these are people who have been working on these problems for literally decades, and that you probably have a lot to learn from the challenges that they've been through and the things that they've learned and the reasons for which they've come to these positions that they now have, is really important in just kind of approaching with humility and recognition and just knowing that you have a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. So I think particularly when you're working in spaces where a lot of your work is going both concerns and will eventually affect the day-to-day lives perhaps of vulnerable and marginalized communities, it was really important for me to incorporate the testimony and the stories of people who were impacted by the work that I was doing and to uplift those narratives. And I was really lucky that that's something that the ACLU of Virginia thinks about a lot, very critically in its work. And so I felt very comfortable operating within the framework of the organization to ensure that we were coming from a place where we were truly uplifting the stories of impacted individuals rather than entering a community and trying to sort of devise a solution that was only effective from our perspective.
I think I just learned different skills on how to work with the NGO in a way that doing what they need rather than inserting myself into the situation, because at the end of the day, we're doing what they want us to do and what they think is best because they have the experience and we don't. So I think I learned a lot about actively trying to do that and how that is a possible thing.
Yeah, I think the main thing I would advise is to think about when it is important, necessary, or even appropriate for you to be speaking, to be sharing opinions and making arguments in the work that you're in. So that's not to say that you need to sort of censor yourself or limit yourself in your capacity to enact change. But I think it is really important to think critically about whose stories are being told and who's doing the telling. And if you, at each step of the way, can ask yourself that question and feel confident that the answer to that question, it ultimately uplifts the communities that you're trying to serve, then you're on the right path.